Hey guys, welcome to Brutes and Magoots, where today I'm going to be doing a bunch of upgrades to this Jackson U.S.A. KV2 pile of skulls. This guitar was hand painted by Dan Lawrence. I've had it in the collection for a while now, and it's gotten lots of use. So I figured it's time to give it some love. So we're going to be updating it, upgrading it, and just giving it some overall love. But today in this video, we are going to be focusing on a refret. So, this was made in 2006, and at that time, the U.S.A. shop was still putting in nickel frets. I'm not so much a fan of nickel frets. I know some people really like them. I just don't like the drag and stuff. I like just that smooth, glassy feel when you're bending. And these frets have some wear on them too. These are, I think they're Duncan 6105 frets. So they're narrow but relatively tall, but not tall enough. My finger still wants to grab the fretboard. So today in this video I'm going to be showing you how I do a refret. Everybody has their own different ways, but I'll show you the steps that I do I take to install frets. And we are going to be using this Jescar EVO gold fret wire. This is the extra jumbo equivalent, and which gives me a little bit more height, and they're also wider than these 6105s. I am lucky enough to still have some of this Jescar gold fret wire in my collection. Their supplier kind of ran out, I think, and this wire is impossible to find. So I'm lucky enough to have it. I'm going to use it, and all of the upgrades and stuff here is going to have like a gold feel to it. So I figured this would be good, and these are pretty easy to work with versus stainless. All my other guitars have stainless in there, and it's awesome, but it does go through tools quite a bit. And I use all Stu Max stuff, but I mean it'll still wear through that stuff pretty quickly. The gold EVO is kind of like a hybrid between nickel and stainless. As far as like the hardness scale, it's kind of like right in between. It's got good wear, good feel, but it's a lot easier to work on and do a refret job on there. So that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and strip it down and dive right on in. All right, so everything's been removed from the guitar, and what I do is I'll heat up the frets with a soldering iron, and this dude right here, if I can get him in focus, I notched the tip of this so that way it doesn't want to like skirt off the fret and touch the fretboard. So I'll use that, heat up the glue on there, and then I take this tool from Stu Mac, and I'll grab the fret and pull it up, and then I will sand the fretboard. This is a compound radius, by the way, so it goes from 12 to 16. It makes it a little bit more difficult, as you can't just do like 12 straight through or whatever, and when you're leveling everything is a little bit more involved, but it's not too bad. And then I'll take this tool and clean out the tang from the fret, and get it all cleaned up, and then we'll go from there. All right, so frets removed, everything is cleaned out. I cleaned out all the slots, and I sanded and leveled the fretboard. You can still see some tooling marks from manufacturing in places, but once I get frets on there and there's oil on the fretboard, you won't ever notice that kind of stuff anymore. So I'm not going to dig them out. Overall, though, it's looking and feeling pretty good. So what I do now is I'm going to take the fret wire, and I've got this bender, and I'll run it through the bender, and I'll put I put a harder radius than what it is. So for 12, I typically do like a 10 radius, and then like when I merge it all the way up to like the 16, in which I do like a 14. And what reason for that is I do a tighter radius, so it helps keep the ends down of the fret wire, especially when the fingerboard is bound like this, because you can't get that tang all the way to the end. So I'll have to cut them all, and then I've got this handy dandy little tang nipper from U.S.A. that I really love. Makes it super easy to cut those up. So that's what's on the plate next. All right, so they're all cut, and then I don't know about what other people do, but I just have this little tray here that keeps them all lined out for me, so I know which ones go where. And then as far as smoothing out the tang, I have this little jig that I made up, and I kind of I insert the fret through there and expose the tang, and then I just use U.S.A. fret leveling file. It's like a diamond file or whatever, and I just go over there and smooth it out, and then we'll be ready to put them in there. All right, so all the frets have been prepped. I got my CA glue here. I just put some CA on the tang, and then I've got my fret press here, and then just press them in. I'll swap out, since this is a compound radius that goes from 12 to 16, I kind of transition from 12 to 14 to 16 as I go down for whatever is appropriate, to make sure that I have good contact all the way across the fretboard for each fret. So let's get it going. Well, sometimes you end up working backwards. So I have everything prepped for leveling and beveling. But I started thinking about things, and I think what I'm going to do is swap out the last 5 frets for stainless. I have these guys laying around here. It's the same fret wire from Jescar, but this is in stainless. And I think I'm going to put the stainless ones on the last 5, and then partially scallop the last 5 too. Kind of like an Alexi guitar. And we're going to try out, although the Alexi is like full scallops, but I'm never up here that much, so I'm just going to do partial ones. We'll see how it goes. All right, guys, so I'm back to where I was. Unconventional, yes, but it's going to play badass. You can see my scallops on here, the last 5 frets. So what I'm going to do is remask everything, and then I will take this dude, which is a fret end beveling file. This is from U.S.A, and it makes short work of cleaning up all the ends on here. Once I do that, I'll take my sanding beam over here, and I'll level out the entire fretboard. The main thing, obviously, is to make sure that this fretboard is dead nuts straight and flat before you do any of this. But do that, and then I recrown stuff with the U.S.A Z file. And then this is a Z file, but it's smaller and it works good when you're going over body stuff. And we'll check back in after all that. All right, slowly making some progress. Everything's leveled. They've been recrowned. And when I use a Z file, I mark everything with a black marker so I can see my lines. But I take it down to where there's just a thin little black line through here. Yeah, so that's done. Then I take this little fret end dressing file and I'll go through and clean up all the edges on the frets, and then we can finally start looking at polishing stuff. All right, so everything is dressed. I probably have some, I might need to do some fret end dressing once all the tape is off, but so far it's in a good spot. So next I do polishing. And then what I do is I start with these little Dremels bits because it makes life so much easier. And this is about 800, and this one is about, I think it's like 1500 or so. But anyway, like what I do is I put like a groove in there so that way when it's going over there we go, it fits over the fret better and it gets down the sides. Then I switch to the StewMac fret erasers, and those work wonderful. I love those. Then finally I will do some others with this dude, and then finally I do this stuff, which I don't know if you guys ever used this before, but I absolutely love it. It puts a nice polish on everything, and it does a good job of getting rid of any of the residue. So oh boy, I'll be glad when it's done. All right, so everything is done, polished, and cleaned up. I still need to just go through, and there's some catches here and there that I need to clean up. And then what I do, just to be sure, is I recheck that the fretboard is level, and then I just take like the little fret rocker and go across the whole thing and mark any high spots, and then I use the little spot leveler, little diamond file from StewMac, and I just go in there and just kind of clean up whatever needs to be cleaned up and just do a little spot polish on anything that I may have taken down. But yeah, pretty happy with it, and she's super shiny. All right, so here is the guitar all done, and there's all my fretwork. When I started this project, I was not anticipating really doing a full refret. I was kind of hoping I could just get by and just level the ones that were there, but I just got into it and figured, why not? Yeah, so pretty happy with it. It's nice and smooth, and it feels great. And again, with it's hard to tell on this angle, my scalloped last 5 frets. But yeah, she looks good. There we go, catching it some in the light here. Yeah, pretty happy with her. All right, guys. So I'm really happy with it turned out. Doing the mix of EVO and stainless is unorthodox, I know, but I kind of really like the way it turned out, especially because I have that mix of gold and silver on the guitar anyway as a theme. So, and then I'm really happy again with the fretboard scallops. I think it came out pretty good. It's a pain in the butt job. I mean, when people charge hundreds of dollars to do this for customers, there's a reason. It's a lot of work, especially to do it right. So it's worth it. It completely changes the way the guitar feels, in my opinion. It's one of the best upgrades you can do if you have nickel frets, just because everything is just smooth and glassy once you install Jescar frets. To me, like, that's your biggest connection to the guitar is the fretboard radius and the frets and your action and all like that. That's like the most important thing to me, so it's worth it. But anyway, everybody has different ways of doing fretwork. This is the way I did it. Again, it's compound radius. You know, like when I started taking apart the bridge to upgrade the hardware on the bridge, you know, I found out that they had like the 12-inch radius on it, which was, you know, it's like, what the hell, guys? So, I mean, this is a U.S.A. made guitar, and they go from 12 at the nut to 16 at the 24, and then back to 12 at the bridge. Like, how does that make any sense whatsoever? If it's a radius, the radius continues on through. So really, I should be about an 18 or so at the bridge. I've flattened it out to like a 20. But I mean, to be technically right, it should be right about there, around 18 or so. It kind of depends on like you know, what scale length and stuff your guitar is. But on this one, that's kind of about where I need to be. So stuff like that's surprising. I don't get it. So like doing a compound fret job is kind of a little bit more pain in the butt because you're not just like blasting through like, you know, 12-inch radius frets and everything's the same and you can level it all out the same. There is more finesse going on, but this is the way I do things and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So as always, feel free to ask me any questions and I'll be happy to answer them. And until next time, I will see you guys later.
I believe I have made a significant find in the Kandarian ruins. A volume of ancient Sumerian burial practices and funerary incantations. It is entitled Natural Dimanto, roughly translated